a hollow feeling, another draw. Let's talk about it. So, look, we'll just literally jump straight into it. I've got so many thoughts and feelings, and I've calmed down over the last 12 or so hours since that game's been played. But I guess we'll talk about the biggest elephant in the room straight up, and is obviously that umpiring decision by Matt Nichols. Um, so, Lockie Sullivan gets up, you know, back to the umpire. He's getting up, unbalanced, chucks the ball to Dacos. Dacos gives it straight to Nichols. Nichols calls that time wasting, gives a free kick to Sean Darcy when they were 4 or something goals down, and then that really sparked their momentum, and then they kicked on from there. So it was a big momentum changer. Now, looking at it isolated, you kind of go, well, not you kind of go. That was a shit call, right? I'm not gonna sort of find a positive to that. That was an absolutely terrible call. Is it correct in the letter of the law? Yes. I think there's something that says, you can't time waste. And then you sort of start thinking, okay, but is time wasting, there was no time wasting because he blew the whistle and the clock stops. So is there another interpretation of time wasting that it's not defined in the rules of the law? Is it time wasting because you're holding, even though the clock's not ticking, you're holding the play up and players are setting up, even though there was like half a second. And then you sort of get into that area where it's like, are we, football is not black and white. We know this. And there's a lot of commentators and a lot of people on the internet saying, you got to get a feel for the game and you got to umpire to the feel of the game. I've never personally seen that sort of free kick paid before. Like, I understand if the ball was sort of thrown away. Look, Lockie Sullivan would have been in a better position just to leave the ball on the ground. And if the ball was left on the ground, that would have been fine. If he had grabbed it, left it on the ground, that would have been fine, even though it would have taken longer for Matt Nichols to pick the ball up off the ground than it was to give it to Dacos and give it back. And I think that's the most frustrating thing, that something like that, so close to goal, sparked a Fremantle comeback from seemingly an unwinnable position. We were 25 points up with 7 minutes to go. We didn't score for the last 7.5 minutes. We'll get into that in a little bit. But that one umpiring decision kind of, gained their momentum. But, and this is a huge but, that was just one call in such a topsy-turvy game for us. So yes, that, you could say we lost the game because of that call, and it shouldn't have. Whatever you sort of think about it, to the letter of the law, it's there. I don't think it should have been paid, obviously, because I'm a Collingwood supporter, so I don't think it should have been paid. Shit shit doesn't get paid anywhere else on the ground. It's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating. But that was just one instance, and we're going to be focused on that. But let's look at the rest of the game and see where, things could have gone a little bit better. So like I said, it was a very topsy-turvy game. First quarter was blow for blow. It was looking good. Fremantle plays such a boring style of football, like very defensive, like kick to kick, and it becomes a snorefest because they park the bus, and then your team is made to sort of chip it around and ticky-tacker as well and try and break down their defenses. And look, it works for them. I think on average, they keep teams to just under 70 points or something like that. So they're a very good defensive team. They're a very good stoppage team as well. And, we go over to Perth with a injury list of 14. 2 debutants, 6 players under 10 games. And, we nearly come away with a win. Like, I am so bloody proud of this team. And in saying that, Mason Cox goes off sub, so Will Parker comes on. So you lose one big man. Brody Mychek has hamstring awareness, tightness, whatever. You lose another big man. Still Pendlebury, I was going to say. Oh my God. Scott Pendlebury is playing with one arm. I think he had a corky on his arm. So you're down to half a person there. That's another game where we've had 2 or more injuries. Last week we did it. The week before we did it. We haven't lost since round 2 to the Saints, when we lost to the Saints, right? In that third game. We shouldn't be in the position that we're in with all these injuries when you sort of look at it, you know? Like last week's game, we go down, we had no big men up forward in last week's game against Adelaide. This week, exactly the same thing. Next week against the Doggies, it's going to be exactly the same thing because Maisie Cox will be out with concussion and Mychek probably more than likely won't play. So to be in this position that we're in, where we haven't lost again, we're undefeated in 8 rounds or whatever 8 rounds, that's incredible. And it says a lot about the organisation, how we're not using injuries as an... Lockie Sullivan, Harvey Harrison, Joe Richards, all played incredible games, right? And, you know, I was talking about the injuries, and, you know, we're not using those as an excuse. We could roll over and lose. And I think if we had beaten Fremantle, or Walliop, it would have been probably, besides the grand final and those finals, probably the best win that we've had. Maybe top 5 regular season wins or top 3 regular season wins since Craig McRae took over. It would have been fantastic. And to come out with 2 points, it's fucking disappointing because we were up by 25 points with 7 minutes to go. But I'd rather take the 2 points than a loss any day of the week. Any day of the week. And what people fail to realise, you know, people will say Collingwood choked. People will say, oh, how can you be proud of them when they lost? You're up by 25 points. You should have put the thing to bed. And, you know, I can see where they're coming from, but they're also being facetious. Is that the right word that I'm sort of looking for? Because if you're looking at the scoreline, you go, okay, Collingwood up to 25.7 minutes ago, they shouldn't have lost that. You sort of delve a little bit deeper, you go, okay, they lost 2 of their marking forwards, had to chuck Ed Allen in as a full forward. Billy Frampton, who was playing a great game down back, they had to put him at full forward because we needed a marking forward. There was no Will Hoskin-Elliott to play that role, no Jamie Elliott to play that role. So we sort of make do with what we had. And I thought we had a very makeshift team that just kept standing up. They stood up against Adelaide last week. They stood up against Fremantle, you know, and by all rights, we should have probably lost that game. You know, we probably should have lost that game, but they just kept fighting. And yes, it sucks because we didn't score for 7.5 minutes. And I thought when Bobby Hill kicked that goal, I thought, here we go. That's it. This is it. We're done. We're good. But you could see that after that goal, and then they get that one back for Banfield, it starts, you could see that their legs were starting to run out. We played off 3 6-day breaks as well. So you can see that it's taking all these injuries are taking the toll on the players, but they just keep fighting. And that's what I'm just so proud about. I'm proud of this team. And yeah, like when you look at it and you go, okay, the umpiring decision really messed us up. But then you go, okay, hang on. In that second quarter, we didn't kick a goal. We kicked 5 points in that second quarter for goals for shots that should have been goals. And even in that last quarter, we had all the dominance at the start, and we just didn't put it on the scoreboard as well as we should have. We did kick a couple goals, but we didn't put it on as well as we should have. And that comes down to fatigue. It comes down to, you know, no big man up front. And it seems to be that we always have our key forwards injured. We don't have a lot of them, and then we all get them injured. So it is a very... It's just one of those games, isn't it? It's just one of those games. And when the game finished, I was furious. I was on Twitter or X, whatever it was. I was like, Fremantle didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve the 2 points. And I, you know, and then you sort of, after a couple of hours, I was like, actually, you know, we tried our bloody best. And all we can do is, and like Craig McRae said in his presser, it is what it is. We just got to move on to the next one now. And we take 2 points and come back home, count the wounded, take 2 points, and let's do it again. Let's go again on Friday against the Doggies. But it is bloody disappointing. Like, I just want to stress, I don't know how much I can stress enough that even though that umpiring decision was fucking shit house, was absolutely crap. Even though it was absolutely crap, that's not what really, I guess technically it lost us the game, but it's not what really lost us the game. Like Craig McRae said in his presser, we made more bad decisions than the umpires did yesterday. We let Fremantle play their game too well. They got on a couple of runs. We didn't defend well. We let Alex Pearce, get a goal. There was a couple of times they were going inside 50 where they were just marking unopposed. And, just a couple of things like that. And you go, okay, so the umpiring decision, it did look like it cost us, but probably you need to kick a goal in the second quarter and then you win, right? We kicked, what was the score in the end? So the score in the end was 10-15. You put 3 of those away and you win the game. We should have put this game to bed in the third quarter. It should have been done and dusted. But it wasn't. So you're left to rue chances, and then you're left to pick out an isolated incident and say, yep, that's why we lost the game. But matter of fact is that we lost it in other ways and in other plays and in other little things. And it kind of reminds me of the 2018 grand final. We won't talk about that now because it's too sad. But yeah, it is such a hollow feeling after a draw. And now it's like, okay, percentage doesn't matter when we had that draw to Essendon. And now we're back on even peggings. It's like we've won a game, right? So 2 points and 2 points. It's like we've got one game. You go, fuck, now percentage does matter again. So now we've got to get better at our percentage. So it's going to be an interesting weekend to see how other teams around us place. We'll probably be out of the 8 by the time that sort of finishes. We'll see, or maybe just inside it. But yeah, absolutely so proud of boys. I can't state that enough. A couple of shout outs. Harvey Harrison, 3 goals. Absolutely incredible. Joe Richards did everything that he could. Nick Dacos, 19 contested possessions, 10 clearances or something. The Dacos brothers in general were just phenomenal. I think our backs need a little bit of tuning up. I thought Darcy Moore didn't play his best game. Jack Criswell was probably down a little bit. So was Steele, was down a little bit. But all in all, I think everyone sort of did it as best as they could. But like if you look at this, like John Noble, incredible. Patrick Lipinski is he's probably going to finish top 5 in the Copeland Trophy. I thought he did and had another good game. I thought Darcy Cameron had another good game. There were things where, if the ball bounces right, Bo McCreary was good on his return. Could have been a little bit better, but that's his return. It's just, yeah, disappointing. But we push on. Like, what can we do now? It's ruined. I made this channel so it doesn't ruin my weekend, but it has flattened my weekend. But at least I guess it's at least we didn't lose, right? Like that's just what I keep telling myself to make myself feel better. At least we didn't lose. We got the 2 points. We're undefeated since round 8. Didn't lose, 2 points, undefeated since round 8. That's the mantra that I tell myself in the mirror when I woke up this morning. But look, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. What did you think of the game? And I know you're going to give me about the umpires, so let me know your thoughts all down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and also double shackers. I'll swoop you later.